We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We have a really good show for you guys today. We're excited to have you here. We are going to be discussing the Maryland 5-star and everything that happened there. And then we have the Nations Cup team member who won the silver medal with their team, Mary Bess Davis, and we're going to have a really good conversation. So let's take a break, and we'll get right to it.
Want to advertise on the Jon and Rick Show? Contact Jon at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are in the virtual Jump for Joy studios here at the Jon and Rick Show. Great to see you. You're sitting in the studio right now. We have a show to talk about all kinds of information, and I'm excited about Mary Bess Davis. She's a dear, close friend, and we're so excited for her and the U.S. team over there at Boekelo. Let's get into, I think you mentioned something about that 5-star here in the United States, Maryland 5. What do you want to talk about? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so, I'll be interested, and I think actually it's probably kind of cool because you were there. You were there with Elisa. She was riding in the 3-star. So you got like on the grounds reaction from everybody, riders, officials, spectators. I was actually in Guatemala teaching a clinic. And so I watched it delayed after I had some information and had a little bit more of what I'd call the fan experience, watching the cross country go. And so how about this? I'll give my reaction, what I thought, and I did have some information as to how things went, obviously, because I was talking with you and a bunch of people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
But watching it, I would say, looking at it from the outside in, and I can't give like the generic fan reaction where I don't have information, but my honest reaction was the competition as a whole was disappointing because you didn't get to see horses finishing and jumping around. And I don't know, like I just kept watching and being like, oh, like, great. Now we wait again for another one. And it was just an interesting event to watch that you had so few horses finishing, and we will talk about whether that was good or not good and what could be better and what the problems were. But I just, looking at it from the outside, I just kept thinking like, okay, like, cool, let's fast forward and get to some action here. It was, from watching cross country as a fan, it was disappointing. I thought like, it was like, okay, great. Like another one doesn't get around. So that just was my initial fan reaction to it.
Okay. And you're talking specifically to everybody listening. You're talking, there was a 3-star long track, which was the USEF National Championships. And you're speaking specific to the 5-star long.
Specifically to that 5-star.
Right. So, and to that point, we are already kind of in the know about the 5-star only having 23 entries, right? I think last year we had 25. I believe that is correct. And has gone down over the last 4 years, right? So we only had 23 horses to draw from. I think statistically, if you looked at that, most of the field was older horses, I think from 12 to 18. And then we had the random younger horses. I think Harry Mead had a 10-year-old that he did not finish on. This year, there was panic about the footing. They spent a lot of money and 300,000 gallons of water dumping on the course track. And we can talk more about the footing as we go along. To your point on a viewing part of it, it was disappointing because we didn't get to see much action, correct? Now,
Yeah.
does that drill down into, I think what was really exciting was the 3 long. Thank goodness they had the 3 long, because
Yep.
it was exciting. There was 53 entries. There was ups and downs everywhere. And the only really bad fall, I believe, was Boyd Martin.
Boyd had a tough day.
Boyd had a tough day. That was in the 3 long. And then poor Joe Meyer in the show jump, we'll get to that later, broke his wrist in the 3 long show jump.
Yeah.
Back to the 5 long, I was there with Lucinda, who tries to get to every 5-star out there. And I don't know, John, we can talk about the footing. You want to start with the footing first?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested because you were there on site. From watching it, it looked brown, and you could see dust kicking up, which was unusual to see at Maryland. It was weird.
Yeah, and I heard that too, and I never saw that. So I don't know where the dust was, unless you were not even in the ring. But I didn't see dust flying up. Somebody else said that there was roads next to it with people walking and cars going. I don't know if dust coming from that was coming over onto the track. They aerated pretty well throughout the course. The places that got a little bit hard was around the complexes themselves,
Right.
in which, I don't think you want to aerate too heavily around the complexes.
No.
My opinion is the footing wasn't that bad, but the air rating to me was too big of an air rating cut. So I don't know. I'm not a turf guy. I don't know. I think they cut the air rating too much, and it while it was dry, it was kind of now a little bit deep. So you had dry and deep a little bit on the galloping paths where the horses wouldn't stay on the top. They would sink down a little bit. The other thing that I've noticed on the track and people are blaming is the horses being tired. John, to be honest, I just don't think the horses were really prepped good. Those that were getting tired were prepped right for Maryland. Go ahead on your insights on the footing. We can get to the results, which we can do toward the end.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, again, I wasn't there, so I didn't see the footing. I was told they put a ton of effort in. Like, this is no slight to the guys doing the job.
Right.
They busted their tail to try to get the ground right. And I think I was told it hadn't rained in 6 weeks. I mean, what are you going to do? And when I say it looked brown, when you were down on the camera views next to the fences, it looked like Maryland. When you had the drone shots overhead, you could see like the track looked green.
But the brown was on the outside.
Everything around it was brown. So
that's correct.
That just told me, like, it doesn't matter. 300,000 gallons is a lot of water, but it's not a rain, right? So it's a little bit like the old expression, it's like peeing on a forest fire. Like, I think, what are you going to do? It's tough. So I just wondered, and this is a question, not a statement, because again, I'm coming at it from watching it on my phone on the airplane on the way home. I just wonder how much, because that track was very similar to last year, with just a few minor changes, how much that ground sort of took away from the horses, the jarring with the drops and all of that. And did they want to do it? Now, that said, I think you're onto something. Like, it's a tricky spot. We only had 23 horses. When you look at that list, of those 23, should all 23 really have been at the Maryland 5-star? I don't know. And I think we spend so much time in this country focused on dressage, focused on show jumping. We probably don't spend enough time focused on making sure we have proper cross-country horses. And the guy that I would like to point out, who I think always focuses on that and has gotten it done, is Buck.
David Doyle. Yep, Buck. And
Buck. Well, yes, David Doyle for sure. But I don't know him as well as Buck. I've talked to Buck since the event and called him to congratulate him. First of all, Buck's on a thoroughbred. He's on a horse that was 6th at Kentucky this year in the 5-star. It was now 4th here at Maryland. And I just wonder how much of this is like a systemic thing for the sport, and particularly for us in America, of like, when we set out to go produce an upper level horse, I think we have to be realistic with that horse. Is it a 4-star horse? Is it a 5-star horse? And it's okay if it's not a 5-star horse, as long as you don't then take it to a 5-star. And I'm not pointing out anybody specific at Maryland, because I'd have to go and look at it. And I honestly,
Well, I mean,
I don't
let's
really
talk
want to
about,
do that.
well, we're not going to point it. I mean, there's 23 in the field. I mean, we had Cosby Green here. And
Yep.
she had just done Burley with her awesome horse. But her awesome maid horse, his name is, it just slipped me.
Copper Beach.
Copper Beach, that was Buck's horse.
Yep.
She was there on a very, very classy mare. And she was in the lead, close to the top after dressage. But it was that mare's first 5-star, Cosby's second 5-star.
It's a gelding.
Is it a
It's not
gelding? Sorry. It's
Yeah.
so pretty. It looks like a mare.
Yeah.
And then you had Meg Klugman on a really cool mare.
Emma.
That was their first 5-star.
Emma Klugman.
Emma Klugman. Thanks. You got to keep me track. You're fact checker.
I'm got it all here. I mean, I'm on it.
So let's talk. So there you go. We got the older horses. We have, of course, the first timers that were going out. First timers, either the horse, or the rider, or both. And it was an Ian Stark course. I got to defend Ian a little bit, because in 2021, 2022, he said it was too easy to make the time. It was too easy of a course, and then you make these small changes, a little bit longer course, and then all of a sudden we only have 23, and everybody's going, oh, poo, bad footing. Horses are bad. You can't get through. I'm like, are we ever happy?
No, we're not. But I think that's sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's high level sport. Like, and you see that in all sport. No, we're never happy. And we're always going to bitch and moan and criticize and critique from the sidelines. That's what keeps us going, Rick.
Well, I agree. And the other thing that Ian did was there are options everywhere on that 5-star.
Okay. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Because I have felt this is a problem at 5-stars for years. So when I did my first 5-star, which sadly was a really long time ago, I never intended to go all the straight routes. I was walking with my coach and was told, you're going along here, you're going along there, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like, it seems to me everybody now goes out and they are going to go double clear, and they smoke around, and then they either have an issue happen and then they have to retire, or they burn their horse out and they can't get it home. What happened to making good choices ahead of time and on course of saying, like, okay, this is this horse's first 5-star. I'm going to go out steady. I'm going to come home with a minute of time, maybe, whatever, 30 seconds, 45 seconds worth of time. I'm going to take 2 long options. And if things are going great, I'll go straight the other places. And if they're not, I'll option here or there. It just seems to me that in general, now I know at the corners out by before the crab water, when they were climbing up that hill, a lot of people ended up taking the option there. But it seemed more like they weren't getting a good jump at the first one, and then they were forced to take the option as opposed to like planning on it. And again, these are very broad sweeping statements, but I remember Jen's mom years ago saying to her, you can't, and keep in mind, Rita is not a horse person, but she said to Jen, you can't win if you don't finish. And it seems like everybody is going out there to win, and so then they don't finish. And if you just were to finish, like look at Buck. Buck's on a full thoroughbred horse. That thing could have probably smoked around and made time, but he knew that it was a big track. The ground was not ideal. He went out and he got as close to time as he felt comfortable getting, because he wanted to have a horse the next day and he wanted to have a horse this next season. So he did, in my opinion, a masterful job of getting that horse home with a handful of time that still kept him very competitive.
Agreed. And let's give another stat. All 3 thoroughbreds, and only 3 thoroughbreds were there in the field. All 3 finished. Twilight's Last Gleam,
Yep.
LL Barnaby,
LCC Barnaby. Is he thoroughbred?
LCC Barnaby, thoroughbred. And by the way, Lillian Wood,
And
you
that
did a
says
great.
Irish sport horse, so that's hard to say.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Why did
Irish
I
sport horse.
think he was a
I don't know.
thoroughbred?
I don't know. Because he's
Well,
Irish sport horse.
let's go with the two.
Yeah.
The two made
Yep.
it. Twilight's Last claim that the Gardeners breed, they have that the thoroughbred stallion Anthem. But anyway, they jumped around. I think to your point, made some decisions and options to go. I even think the fish offset brush before the crab water, if I remember right, walking it with Lucinda, you didn't even have to take either one of those.
No, you could jump the bounce and then go jump the 3-star crab
No,
in.
no, not the crab, not the crab. The offset fish. They're called we called it the fish jump, the one with offset brushes that you could take the long route before the crab that we were just talking about.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes.
You didn't even have to jump A or B.
Okay, see, and that's interesting because so looking at it from my angle, watching it on TV, I just assumed you had to jump the first fence and you had an option at the second, and I saw nobody take an option at the first
And
fence.
look, I'm gonna opt into I think, quote
Right.
unquote, but kind of walking it. I think there was a roll top. Here's A right here coming like this,
Yep.
right? There was a roll top here.
Oh, there was. I know there was actually. I saw somebody stop and they went and jumped it. You're absolutely right. It was really long.
Yes, you would have to go there, wrap around, go all the way to the outside, but you could have done that.
Right.
And those weren't corners this year. If you remember last year, they were corners, and I think
Right.
there was a lot of trouble there. I think
Mhm.
Phil had a fall on Azure at the second part of that element. It's a tough complex, but it had options.
tough.
Everything had
It's-
options.
It's tough because you're coming up that hill to it as well.
And
Um,
you can tell the horses were petering a bit. When they got, you could tell when they got to the top. And let's back up for a second on the 3 long, which is only 9. When I say only, it was a long 3 long, 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's long.
They had a bigger hill pull going up to the crab water than the 5. And Elisa ran 2 of her horses and she was worried about fitness. She was worried about all that. Those horses smoked around. She kept in check. She didn't, the little fast mare had a stupid glance off. But what I'm trying to say is the footing for the 3 long. I mean, they galloped around, they got tired, and the presentation of the next day, everybody was looking great. So
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I look at these people. So a couple things. One, I actually think as a sport, it is a better day. And this is where I'm conflicted, right? So just being honest, I think it's a better day when people pull up because it's not going for the sport, right? Like we don't want horses on the ground. We don't want accidents. We don't want people pressing on tired horses that shouldn't be. So kudos to the riders that knew it wasn't their day and said, this isn't my day. Like absolutely, we as a sport are in a place where we have to do that. But that said, I felt like I watched a bunch of people go that had they made different decisions as to the lines that they were going to ride, probably could have had a better chance of getting home. And
not to interrupt you, isn't that the case at any event?
yes, but I just think, again, I just wish if the goal was to get home and to finish, as opposed to go out and jump as fast and clean as you can, I think some of those people could be sitting here today in a much better place mentally, thinking about like, okay, I went out, I had a couple mistakes, my horse greened up, but it finished better than it started. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't as competitive as I wanted to be, but I got it done.
What's
think-
the famous line that Jimmy Wofford has used all the time? The late wonderful Jimmy Wofford is it's the experience you get after you got it.
Yeah, the experience is something you get right after you need it.
Right, that one.
Yeah. And again, I know, so like disclaimer, because I can hear people be like, what do you know, John? Like, I realize I haven't been out at that level in quite a while. So like keyboard warriors and the riders, like be aware. I am aware of that. Like, I understand, but I went to Burley quite a long time ago, and I ended up finishing as the last placed finisher. I had 2 stops on cross country. It was not a great day. After my dressage test, which was not good, I didn't want to go. And my wife said, "We spent all this money. You're going, and you need to finish and shut the frig up. You're gonna get this done, right?" And so I went out on cross country. I had 2 stops. I was super annoyed after the first one. I was mad at myself that I let it happen. I had another one later, and I got it home, and I was feeling really bad. And one of my friends who was there said, "Don't feel bad. I've been here 4 times. This is the first time I've finished. Like, you finished it. That's something to hang your hat on, and you can be better at the next one, right?" And
Right.
I'm not saying like that makes me the hero. It actually is the opposite of that. But sometimes you gotta dig in and think, like, look, if the horse is jumping badly and losing confidence and you're just missing everywhere, that's a different deal. For the situation I'm talking about, I was nervous, I was tight, I wasn't riding as good as I wanted, but the horse was jumping well and confident, and we made a couple little mistakes at some accuracy things, and I got it home. And I just, again, no disrespect to anybody out there who's doing it, because they're doing it right now and I'm not right now. But I think if you could go out and be realistic, like, is this your first 5 star? Is this your horse's first 5 star? Is this a horse that is ready to gallop around a track that is meant for a thoroughbred, which I think Maryland is? And if it is, do you have it fit enough, if it's warm blood, to get around that track? And if you don't, should you be running? And if you should be running, should you be trying to make time? I just think there's so many factors in there. And I think, we can say like they made the right choices here or there and they should have pulled up, and good job for you guys putting up your hand. But also, I just question, were we fit enough? Were
No,
we
I
on the
mean,
right horses? And did we go out with the right plan?
that's the main question, right? And we're seeing, I know you're seeing it on the Lucinda feed that we get the privilege
Yeah.
to see comments. This whole debate on thoroughbred and blood is coming into it, and all of our concentration on dressage, and it's going to be like this always. And we're just always going to debate, which is good. It makes it better, makes things better. And to your point of being a warrior on the sidelines, you at least have experience at that level. You've been in that position, right? So
Yeah.
the other
Yeah, I
thing,
feel qualified to speak. I'm just trying
yeah,
to like be
sure,
fair as
sure.
well.
I'm trying to think in my head, like Harry, on his wonderful first horse, pulled a shoe. They didn't quite know what was wrong. And he had pulled a shoe. The horse is fine, but they thought it was a little bit more than it was, and it was just a bruised foot. So horses didn't get injured. This is great. There was no rider injury at the 5 long, from my knowledge.
Well, no major one. Boyd bonked himself pretty good.
Yeah, no, yes, in his second trip, that was a 5. He had already bonked himself in the 3 long. That's a whole nother conversation, right? So
But just real quick on that, just so you're aware, there's a process in place. The process worked. I'll just leave it at that.
okay. I hear you. That could be a sidebar for me and you. What was I saying? You just made me lose my track of mind. Anyway, I'm really proud. What I'm really proud of, and we might be running out of time, but it's our podcast.
We can do whatever we want. Just go.
All the 3 long horses. There was young horses there. That's what they're there for, right? The championships.
Yep.
They were 8, 9, 10-year-old horses that were going out, and it was a tough course. It was a tough track. I think the first 3 out, Boyd had a stop at the bounce, Sunken Road out, and then he had that bad fall at the double corners. And then Tammy was out, and I think she had some issues. It's a little rough. And then Elisa went out. Everybody didn't think the Sunken Road was going to be able to be done, and that little mare just flipped right through it. But as the day goes, you know how people panic, right, John? I'm listening to all the riders. I'm going to go the long route. We can't go that way. It all levels out as you go along, and people learn from watching how to ride a certain complex, right? And I think that's the benefit of being further in the pack, is kind of understanding how things ride and how you can adjust. Some people don't. They ride the way they thought they should ride. Others make some adjustments. So I was proud of all the three long riders. And
But no, and it sounds like that was a great competition. And I will have you know, I got a message from your daughter this morning, to your point, and she said, I went out there and my horses were amazing through the sunken road because I got to practice your sunken road. And I think, like, one, I said, that's awesome. I'm really happy and I'm thrilled that I was able to help out a little bit with my cross country. But it's interesting. We don't actually have sunken roads like that much anymore, right? The guys got away from all the walls. And so now they're more like mound sunken roads. And you have a proper old fashioned sunken road at Maryland now. I'm assuming, I don't know what Pierre's plan is for next year, that probably still going to have that complex there. It was a pretty big investment by Maryland to put that in. So you guys
And-
might want to practice sunken roads.
Yeah, and just to that point though, that sunken road is made more difficult because of the roping and how you have to get
Totally.
to.
Yeah.
You have to do a 90-degree turn coming
It's there to
off a
slow
big-
everybody down.
There's a big table jump. You come in and it's a 90-degree turn right, and you're right there. So it can be made softer, I guess, in the years to follow. I kind of liked it because it gave a challenge, and the horses that read it right. The horses that didn't read it right and did it, learn from it. And the ones that didn't read it right and had to stop, well, that's the call out on preparation, right?
Yeah, and I think the last thing I would just say on that is, like, as thinking as a designer, I think we get into these trends, right? So like we used to have every event had a sunken road like that.
Right.
And then the guys went away from them, probably for a lot of reasons, one of which was riders weren't riding them very well and were banging into the walls. So they went away from those. I think sometimes we, as competitors, probably pressure designers like, well, we never do that. That's weird. Why do we have that there? Like, why can't we have one event that has an old fashioned sunken road, another event that doesn't, like, and they have these
Didn't have
designers
it all.
yeah, like you go to this event because you know, like Chattahoochee always had that sunken road in the back, and then they started taking the walls away. I think that was like, and I had a couple horses that wouldn't jump into that thing. That's why I have a sunken road at my farm now. Like, I think we want different types of courses everywhere, and when these guys are designing, I think just the one thing, and I'm gonna actually say this to Jay, would be like, get some different stuff at different venues, right?
And a proper, you know what we don't have anymore? I
An
think
Irish Bank.
Irish Bank.
And how about, let's bring back the bullfinch. Remember bullfinch?
Bullfinches were tough.
Yeah,
I like
man. I've been trying to get Jay to build the bullfinch somewhere. Jay?
Tiger traps are awesome.
Yeah, tiger traps. Those were cool. Let's get back some old school, really cool cross country stuff. The waterfall thing made me think of the tiger trap. I'm like, why not just, or sorry, the bullfinch. Why not just bullfinch it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the results before we move to Mary Bess?
I mean, we can. I think people probably have them, but yeah, sure.
Well, just a shout out to My Bomb and Tammy Smith. That horse just looks fantastic. And I know it wasn't the way she wanted it to end, but I do know that her prep was minimal and she was protective of him. And it wasn't the way she wanted to go out with him, but what a horse.
Well, she
And-
took a crack at it. You can't fault her for trying, and she made
She
sure
did.
it wasn't right. She stopped.
And then a call out to Lillian, who that was his Barnaby's swan song as well, and he completed, and that horse looked fantastic too at 18. So
Yeah.
shout out to all the teams and riders for keeping these horses looking great.
Absolutely. So obviously, congrats to Ollie. He is
Yeah.
the best. I mean, he talk about a guy who knows his horse and knows how to keep it going, and he's a stone cold competitor.
Tim Price,
Tim Price on Falco, who
owned by Sue
you would
Benson.
you would watch that one go and think it's thoroughbred.
Right. I think
David-
they're doing, I think it's 45% blood.
Yeah, okay. And then David Dole, I don't know him. Little sneak preview, guys. We've got confirmation from David that he will be on the podcast here in the very near future. So that's cool. We're looking forward to having David on.
And before you move, we got to comment, David Doyle's the only one to make time in the 5 long. 20, it was like something
He
weird.
Yeah,
27
he was like
seconds
20
under.
seconds under. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and he has it. We got to test him on his what he does. He does sprints and long gallops. So we'll have to quiz him.
If we can get some of his insider info.
Horse looked great.
Yeah. We got Buck.
Yep.
We were talking about on Sorakaima. full thoroughbred. And I talked to Buck. He's so proud of that horse. He's so proud that it's thoroughbred. And, he talked about how he's not always competitive at all the shorts because he's trying to make sure the horse is rideable so that he can be competitive where it matters. And he's proven one thing about Buck. He knows how to go take a crack at it when it's the important weekend. And he's done that on that horse pretty consistently. Bobby Upton, who I think is so cool to watch and inspiring. She had a bad riding accident and has come back and just is.
Yeah, it's too bad she had the frangible, but that's what it's there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or did she have a flag? One or the other. I think it was frangible.
I think she had the frangible. She had the end of the coffin.
Yep.
Just bad luck. Then Jenny Brannigan.
White lights last clean. Cool horse.
Again, proper thoroughbred. Interesting. I hadn't seen this. It is an International Stud Book Committee of Thoroughbreds.
It's new. That's something that everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Yeah, Tim Gardner told me about it. I don't know if it's something they put together so that these thoroughbreds can be in a stud book, and it might. We're having conversations about Lee Leon and the championship 8-year-old horse, 7-year-old.
What we should do? I bet we could figure out. We'll reach out and see if we could get Tim or Nina or both to come on sometime. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then the one person we haven't talked about who finished, who is a fan favorite, one of our favorites, talk about this horse all the time, is Corvette with Emily Hamill. I mean, that thing just pinged around.
She had an unfortunate glance off at the Chevron almost home. Coming home.
Yeah, and even with that, still only 12.8 time, and got it done. So congrats to everybody who finished. Congrats to everybody who got there. Like, again, obviously we're offering some criticism here and talking about stuff, but that's what the show is about. We're having fun, and I have so much respect for everybody that's there.
Well, let's leave it with this. Spencer and Sinead, great job on commentary. Can't tell you how informative and how entertaining they are. Kudos to Maryland 5 and the whole team, because the way the setup is and everything running now on their 4th year runs really, really smooth and cool. Everybody was getting the commentary earpieces, so you didn't even have to be watching. You could hear the commentary the whole time it was going on. That was through the VIP tents. Anyway, it was a fantastic event. I love being there. I had a great time. I'm tired as heck from driving the 14 hours home, but there we go.
Well, it was it was an interesting weekend. And I'm glad everybody is safe and sound and good and ready to go on to the next one. We even better the next time. And Ian, we're going to miss you as a designer.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we're not going to miss you. I think you'll still be around a bunch. So looking forward to that. Let's take a break, Rick. We're going to be right back with the silver medalist from the Nations Cup at Boekelo, Mary Bess Davis. We're going to talk to her about Imperial Magic.
I love them both.
EquiBrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
EquiBrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order EquiBrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
Jump for Joy fences are easy to move, lightweight, durable, and low maintenance. So we're out here on the cross country. We just finished over in the show jumping over the Jump for Joy fences. Had a great time schooling over them. They're really nice and easy to move, so we were able to adjust some things and really have the exact school that we needed thanks to the Jump for Joy fences. I love them.
Order yours at jumpforjoyusa.com.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Hi, my name's Leslie Law, and we are a proud supporter of Jump for Joy. We've been using their portable cross-country jumps now for about 10 to 15 years. We love these jumps because, as you can see, they're very easy to move. It would only take another person on the other side, and I could place this fence wherever I wanted to very easily.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here with Mary Bess Davis. Mary Bess, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, even with some technical issues to start.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're in the Jump for Joy studio, and we are in the Equibrew segment, which is cool because, Mary Bess, you and I are both Equibrew people.
Yes, we are big believers around here. It definitely helps my little horse, who is very energetic. And
He is
emotional.
energetic.
Hey, Mary Bess, I'm so super proud of you. I couldn't have wished a fairy tale ending other than maybe having your father there with you, but he was there with you. I know he's super proud, and all I could think of was he was applauding you from above, because that's something you've dreamed about for a long time. Tell us about your trip and what's going on in your head right now.
Well, I think leading up to it, I was terrified that something was going to happen, because I mean, we've all been there. So I didn't get excited until I jogged. Everybody kept saying, "You're going to," and I'm like, well, I mean, maybe going, I don't know. So once he got on the plane, I got really, really excited. And then honestly, after he stepped off that plane, he was all business. I couldn't believe it. Like, he just grew up a ton and just never put a foot out of place the whole time. Like, which is not like him. Like, we know him in the warm-ups, and you know, he's a little wild and that sort of thing.
Equibrew kicked in.
It did. It did. It for sure did. He was all business all week. And in all three phases, he did the best he possibly could. So it was just a great experience. My family was there, and that was amazing, because I'm away from my kids a good bit. And so them seeing what all these years of work is for, and them getting to experience it and enjoy it really teaches them to go on and work at something hard and have ambition and not give up on their dreams. So I think my dad always taught me that. And so I feel like it's pretty amazing that I'm getting to show my kids the reward after all these years, you know.
Oh, and I'm so proud of that, because your husband is such a trooper. He's a really nice man, Jon. And the boys play soccer, and you're so adorable, because you try to like watch on FaceTime and stuff when you're away and get things going. But good for you, Jon. Take over for a bit and drill her on these questions.
Okay, yeah, no, it's gonna get tough here now for sure.
I can't wait.
No, so look, you and I spoke a little bit ahead of time about Boekelo and sort of what you were thinking it was gonna be, and I said to you, you're gonna have a blast. It's a fun event, like it's really cool, and it is unlike any venue that I've ever been to, in that, like, being critical, I think you'd go to Boekelo and you'd be like, seriously? Like, it's flat, it's a farm field. You sort of are connecting all of these little farms together. Do they still have the section after the water where you go through like a plowed field, or do they have turf the whole way around now?
They have turf the whole way around, but
it's so luxurious.
yes, it was very, very luxurious. Like, when I got there, I was like, how are they going to do this? Because they were towing lorries in. Lorries were in ditches.
Yep.
We couldn't get, our shoes were getting pulled off in the mud going into the barn. And I mean, I honestly was so glad I had talked to you, because you said, Mary Bess, you're going to be fine. The mud's sandy. Don't worry. You're going to be good. Because I was walking around there at first going, you know, I haven't ever jumped my horse out of mud like this. And I got a little bit worried and concerned. And I was like, John tells me it's Sandy. I'm gonna go.
It is interesting though, isn't it? Like you gallop on it, it's not heavy. It doesn't suck on them. They don't struggle to get out of it. It's like, it's where, honestly, it's where I learned, and I'd be interested in what your thoughts are on it after you ran around that course, but it's where I learned horses would way rather run in mud than on hard ground.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Well, and I honestly, I couldn't say for Philip because he had to go last, and I'm thinking nobody wanted to go last that day. I got to go third, which I was thrilled because I had the best footing we were going to have, and I, you know, I think it's very true. I think he jumped better than he normally does, which 22 seconds of time better. But he was amazing. But like most of the time he was in the air, like I was like, God,
Yeah.
boy, come down, come down. But yeah, I think that he loved it. But he was a little bit unsure at the beginning because they took 3 fences off after fence 3, and they were galloping fences. And then so our fence 5 was going into that first water that if you've never been there, you don't know what it's like, but you come around a turn and you are jumping into a dark alley of water, and I jumped in brave. He jumped in like normal, and somebody had warned me on the team. Hallie Kuhn actually had said they really get sucked back in this water, and I was like, oh, whatever. And he jumped in bold, and I was like, oh, he's gonna just nail this. And all of a sudden, it was like a vacuum had turned on, and he just started pulling backwards, and I was kicking, and that comes very early on. So I think I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot how to just step up for him and keep kicking and keep pushing because I never ridden that horse before. Because he definitely was questioning what was going on in the beginning, and then by the end he was all in. Like he was very confident by the end, for sure.
Well,
Yeah, I've jumped into that water twice, and I've nearly fallen into that water twice. It's tough.
I think that's where actually years ago Tammy Smith had problems with Twisted Sister in that water. Hey, Mary Bess, tell us about him real quick before we move on, because he's young. Is this the end of his 9th year, or is he in his 10th year?
He's in his 10th year, and I think he would have been he was 8 when he first ran his first 4-star, and then I didn't run him along when he was 8 because I didn't think he was strong enough. But he's always gotten it. Like I'm just saying this background so you know how amazing this little horse is.
You should. Yep.
He's always understood it. So I chose not to run him a 4L as an 8-year-old because I thought it was too much. And then I broke my neck the next season. And so he did not run a 4L that year, but he was running, he ran Carolina Amazing as 4 short. So he ran his first 4L at his the last part of his 9-year-old year, which honestly I think was the right thing for him. Like I think it gave him stronger, and I think that's why he's getting stronger and still going. So
and that was at Terra Nova, correct?
That was at Terra Nova, and then he did Tryon last spring, and then this was his 3rd 4L. So here we go.
Can I just interrupt quickly here, because I think this is an important thing, and I remember it well, and I don't want to just have you say it like, oh, it's no big deal. You broke your neck.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not good, and we don't need to get into like the accident. But
we can't, because it's funny, actually.
It's funny?
Yes.
It is funny. It is funny. Rick is my surrogate father because Elisa and I are have been very close for a long time. We've had a lot of ups and downs. And so Rick has filled in really well for my father since he hasn't been able to be with me. And so it is a funny story. Rick,
as long as you tell it, I'll laugh. It's fine.
Go, Mary Bess.
Rick, do you want to tell it or you want me to tell it?
I will tell the first part and then you can carry on.
Okay.
So she had just had this beautiful run on this incredible horse, which, by the way, we're going to point in there is Mike Winter sourced that horse for you, correct?
Yes.
And we'll get back to that. She was on her second. It was a 2-star horse, Mary Bess, correct?
2-star horse, young horse.
I was sitting over by the start, and here comes Mary Bess. And she jumps off her horse, and she's just adorable. Everybody, if you can't see her and you're watching spot, oh, you're listening, but she comes watching over and she's kind of walking weird. And I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, I have got to go to the bathroom. I always have to go to the bathroom before I go cross country, because if I fall off, I will piss my pants. I was like, okay.
I think I said pee.
You said,
Yeah, she's a lady, Rick.
I think I said pee in my pants.
So I held the big chestnut that was a big, good jumper. And Briggs was there with me, and we hoisted her back up there, and off she went. Go ahead. Go, Mary Bess.
So then I flip. Thank God for frangible pins. We'll go there too later, probably, but thank God for them. I flip. I break my neck. They put me in the ambulance, and here comes surrogate dad flying around the end of the ambulance. He doesn't know like what I've done or anything else, and I'm fine. Like, I think I'm fine. I'm telling them I think I'm fine, that I think I just pulled something, of course. And he comes flying around the end of the ambulance, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you went to the bathroom." And I was like, me too. I was like, me too, because this would have been so terrible. You never want to be known as the girl that fell and peed in her pants. No, that's not the girl I want to be.
Yeah, it goes on from there. I knew she was starting to look kind of woozy. I was like, I think you better lay still. There's something more wrong with you. We grabbed her phone. I tried to call her husband. Her husband didn't answer at first, but then because it came up as a weird name. But then he answered and called. Anyway, Briggs and I stayed with her. Briggs held her hand. We're so glad you're repaired and your neck is better, and go on now, since we got that out of the way. She's totally good, and you're riding again, which is great. And you obviously are doing well. So tell us about the dressage.
No. Hold on.
Oh,
my point of the question of this whole thing, and that's an awesome story, was you recover from this. It can't have just been that easy. You're like, okay, now I'm good to go, and I just hop back on, and away you go, and McCall is just doing his thing. Like, was there any apprehension, any build up to getting back going? Like, I just think that's an important thing for viewers and listeners to know. Like, it wasn't like you just hop back in the saddle and go.
No, so I immediately was like, I'm gonna quit. So I came home and I was like, this is it. I love my kids. I want to see them grow up. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And so I think I talked to Matt Flynn, and Matt Flynn was like, "You've got the best horse there is. Let's talk about that later." And then I'm about to make my husband sound even better. Because if I were him, I would have been like, "Oh yes, we can go on vacations. We can like stop this, you know." And he said to me, "You got to go out there one more time." And he said, "If you don't, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And if you don't want to do it after you go out there again, then this is it. But I just know that if you don't do it, you will always regret." And of course, that helped me a lot. But after I laid there for a while, and got better, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I just was very, well, when you're hurting, you're like, God, I've had other injuries, and I was like, God, I just hurt. I don't really want to do this anymore. But we're all so passionate about it. And I think that you do have to get back on and see if you're going to be scared, or if you're going to be, because you don't ever want to go out of the start box scared. You want to go out nervous and respecting what's about to happen, but you don't want to be scared. So I think the first time I went out, I rode him a little backwards and was like, but again, though, if it hadn't been for that horse, I don't know that I would have kept going.
Yeah, and Jon, I think it's a testament to her as well, because the horse that she did have trouble with, she immediately sold as a jumper, because sometimes horses aren't meant to jump cross country, and they're really good jumpers, and that one was not meant to be on the cross country field. And so everybody out there, don't be afraid to make the right decision of taking a horse that doesn't belong out there and putting it where it does belong. So testament to your horsemanship there, Mary Bess.
Yeah, because he had made a couple mistakes before, and I was like, oh, he's learning. And then I realized this was his instinct going into water, and that just isn't going to change. And he's a great show jumper. And so he's great for this amateur that bought him, and he's having a great time. Of course, I miss him because I loved the horse a lot, but it's the right thing to do, for sure, to get them in the right discipline for them. So he's doing great.
Right.
John,
Uh-oh. I'm
uh-oh.
here.
Are
Okay.
you there?
I'm here now. Okay, well, thank you. I know that's a pretty personal part of the whole thing, but I think it's important that we touch on it for sure. So back to the story then, Mary Bess. You are at Boekelo. You
Did
show
jog.
up there. You finish the jog, which I heard the jog was pretty exciting for America, actually.
I mean, I was like, how many US horses can be in the hold? I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then Bobby came over to me and said, do not jog down the middle of the strip. There's some rocks there. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to jog down the middle. So I went to the right. And we were good. And then sure enough, like Lauren and everybody went to the right. Everybody was good after that, except for poor Dan, which stunk. But yeah, for a minute I was like, there's not going to be a team left. Wait, what's going on? But everybody after Cassie was good. And once Cassie jogged to the right and was off the little bit of terrain that was questionable, she was great.
So before you actually even start the competition, there is one thing about Boekelo is it's kind of a party, which you are expected to participate in, right? Like I remember going and they were like, and I kind of said, no, I'm here to compete. And I was told in no uncertain terms, you will show up to the parties. The sponsors want you to be there. This is a part of the deal. And I don't want to give too many secrets away, but I did get a video call from one of the parties and I got to see Team America. I think this was actually before the jog, having a good time. So that part's always fun, right?
No, and stay tuned. We're going to take a break and show that video. Ready? Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, right.
He's like, it scared me a little bit. Yeah, no, the parties are great. It's just the whole show is just a different experience. It was insane. Everybody told me it's like a pub crawl on cross country day, and it is.
It is. Not for the riders, but for the people, for the spectators.
I mean, it was the wildest thing I have ever seen. And just pubs out of tents all the way across the cross country. And the Dutch know how to have fun for sure.
Yeah, it's why it happens there. So you go to dressage. Just briefly, just walk us through that test and what you were thinking in the lead up and how he was the days before, all of that.
He was very, very quiet and good all the way up to this. I think it kind of helped because we were in Germany, but leading up to this, and we were like hacking on the roads, and there were bicycles passing him every 5 seconds, and cars passing him every 5 seconds. And I think all that really helped with him because it really desensitized him to everything because it was so busy and different there than it is here. And then Bobby was very good about trying to help me shave points where I could, but not rock the boat with him because he is sensitive and he can be emotional. And so he did a great job with keeping us quiet, but getting the points off as much as we can for right now. We've got tons of work to do on the dressage. That's our weakness, but he's 10 and we're working on it. So I could not have been more proud of him. He was quiet and good and obedient and accurate and all the things. And, the score, of course, isn't as good as we want it to be, but for where he is right now, I was really, really proud of him.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I was proud of you. I've seen that horse go, and he is, to your point. I mean, he's a lanky boy, which is good. I mean, he's a slinky, and you did a really good job considering where you were and all the travel and getting there. And a 35 is nothing. I mean, that is a great foundation score. So good for you.
Yeah, I was really pleased with it. So, I mean, my goal was a 34. It wasn't like I was far off my goal.
You weren't far from that, right?
Yeah.
And
good job.
John, are you studying something?
I'm looking at her scores. I'm not just not paying attention. I'm looking at scores. I've got it right here. All the scores are right
good.
there.
You're so good. So we know she got a 35.4.
So she got a 35.8. What I'm thinking is, I know we talked a little bit about cross country, but we want some more details on that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great spot to just pause briefly here. Let's go check in with a couple of our sponsors so that we can afford to have Mary Bess on the show.
Remember, everybody, just remember, Equibrew, gave her the benefits for her horse to be at Boekelo and really concentrate. And it's a live probiotic. You can get it at www.brickfieldnutrition.com. Order it today and get your horses on the right track, and maybe you will be at Boekelo.
Yep.
Guaranteed, right? That's on the bottle. Guaranteed you get to go to Boekelo. Maybe with a
That's
horse,
a
maybe not.
disclaimer. That's a disclaimer.
All right, let's
Feel
take a
better after you drink at Boekelo. How about that?
yeah, perfect. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back from Mary Bess. We're going to get into the cross country.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Hey, it's John here. I just want to let you guys know I got back from schooling at Magnolia Sands Farm here in Ocala, Florida. Their cross-country field is perfectly suited for a first outing on a young horse or schooling your upper-level horse. Magnolia Sands offers over 110 jumps ranging from starter to intermediate, plus multiple banks, ditches, and waters. They're constantly updating their courses and have even added new ditches and a starter ditch wall. Conveniently located in Northeast Ocala, Magnolia Sands has made it easy for riders and trainers with online waivers, Venmo, and PayPal, and even offer a golf cart for guests. MagnoliaSandsFarm.com. Reset, reboot, rebuild, restore. Experience the transformative power of our formulas you can trust. Elevate your horse's well-being from the inside out with Parkmore supplements. European designed, American manufactured, and Kentucky Proud certified. Parkmore's Devil's Own Detox, Nature's Own Binding Agent, cleansing your horse's system. Now available for your canine kids too. Say goodbye to unwanted elements and hello to vitality. Parkmore Special Vitamin Mineral Supplement, a micronutrient powerhouse. No fillers, just 4 ounces a day for a 5-star eventer to thrive. Because excellence deserves exceptional nutrition. Parkmore GLF Immuno Booster. Unleash the magic gold, the #1 building block for cell replication. Elevate wellness and recovery for your horses and dogs, whether after training, travel, competition, or during periods of injury, illness, or surgery. Parkmore HI Oil Infusion. Customize your blends of herbs and spices to naturally combat inflammation, bacteria, and restore gut flora. Elevate your horses and dogs' appetite naturally. Expert guidance awaits. For more information, schedule an online, telephone, or on-site consultation with Fleur or one of our dedicated team members. Visit parkmoresupplements.com or call, text at 502-265-8345 to elevate your companion's well-being today. Since 1950, Maison Forestier has been offering its know-how to design custom-made saddles for passionate riders. In 2016, Maison Forestier took a turn and expanded into the sports world with the goal of improving the performance of the rider-horse pair. You will find a professional, reactive, and fun team to answer your needs. And this is why I have chosen Forestier for all of my saddlery needs. Feel free to contact the saddle expert in your area for more information by visiting www.forestier.com.
Hello. Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are in the Jump for Joy virtual studios with John. I'm at home. Mary Bess is at home in Georgia. And we are joined by one of our co-stars, Chicka Chicky.
Chicka Chicky?
Chicka Chicky.
Wait, is it a boy chicken or a girl chicken?
It's a girl chicken, and she loves to be held, and she loves to come in the kitchen.
Chicka Chicky. Does she give you eggs?
Oh, yeah. Briggs, we'll show you, and we'll get right to you, Mary Bess. This is just a testament to Rhode Island Reds, and they're very sweet. We have 9, and this was what we got. You got to bring it over here. Be in here. What we got when we were gone to Maryland. 45 eggs.
Wow.
So I just want to say that I have had other friends with chickens, and all of my other friends with chickens give me eggs, but you guys have never brought me eggs.
You're getting eggs.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we're going to let the chicken go, and we're going to get on with the
All right. Thank you for bringing Chicka Chicky on.
Oh.
Whoa.
All right.
Oh, now she's on her shoulder. Okay, Mary Beth. Okay, John, you grill her on the cross country.
Okay, so cross country comes. You said they pulled 3 fences off the course early on, which means you hit the water pretty early after a fair bit of galloping past jumps, I'm assuming, and also past absolutely inebriated Dutchmen and women. So just what were your initial thoughts of the cross country? How did it feel out there? Just walk us through basically just tell us about cross country and be interesting when you do it, please.
I mean, you got us to the water, so take us past that.
There you go.
So, I was relieved once I got through the water because it was not as fun as you want it to be. A lot of a lot of scrubbing, a lot of oh please see it, and then oh thank God we're over it. And then we went really fast, and then let's see, then we had some galloping jumps, and then there was a bank bounce down 3 strides to skinny. And again, like the horses jumped pretty well over the first rails. And then it was almost like he went to take off and took off, but then realized there was water on the landing because there had been so much rain. And so then they would land really, really out and weird and dead, you know, a little bit. And so it was jarring and it didn't ride as well as you wanted it to either. And, but, you know, he's so honest and he just got us up and out of that, up to the skinny. And I think we got 4 there, but it should have been a 3. But after that, I felt like he really clicked in and really started getting confident. Because for a while there, his eyes were a bit big because he was like, God, there's a lot of people. This is hard. This is shadowy. Just, you know, it's just not like anything he's ever seen here. Like here it's more manicured and open, and it's just different there. And so he was a little bit like, whoa, I'm not sure. And I mean, you're literally galloping through people's yards and their gardens. Like, you know, you're galloping by minis in their cute little barn. And then you're in their garden and you're jumping a massive corner down a hill 4 strides to another corner. And it's a little bit odd for them. I think it takes them a minute to be like, okay, I got this. But and then let's see, the second water is the water that everybody falls in. And they pulled that jump back, and I was so thrilled because you didn't land in the water anymore. They pulled it back, and that was a relief. That for sure was a relief because I had watched it on videos and I was ready. And so that was a real relief. And they still jump in it really backed off and odd, but you know, I was really thrilled with him. After he got down in it, he really jumped that skinny on a mound very well. And then you had to be careful because you're in, you know, trails that the mud was pretty bad. And so you kind of had to slow down there and make sure you were okay and you weren't going to slip and slide. But I mean, other than that, like I felt like as a whole, he grew and got more confident and was a better horse by the end. So that's all you can ask for, I think.
Yeah, and you had a great performance, right? 6.8 time. That's awesome around there.
And that was all in the air. That little horse, I was like, buddy, you got to come down.
So I got to tell you, we woke up every morning, and especially for you on Saturday morning, we woke up very early, and I watched the first 3 go, which you were in that first rotation of first riders and some individuals, but the first 3 riders out, right, at Boekelo. I was like, she just made that look easy. I wonder if it's going to be like that for everybody. And lo and behold, it wasn't easy. So kudos to you for being the trailblazer, A, and B, going through that without having any information really at all, and just letting that little guy of yours who's amazing jump through and do his job, and you were there for him. I'm so proud of you representing the USA and going out there and just having a great time.
Well, thank you. And I mean, Bobby had come to me and asked me about going first. Like he came to me and said, well, how do you feel about it? And I said, it sounds good to me. I don't want to know how hard it is. I'd rather be back in the barn icing him and telling him what a good boy he is. And I think it's just how much I trust him. Like I trust that little horse more than anything. So sometimes I don't like to know how hard it is. I'm just going to ride the hardest I can, you know, and it's
right. And Mary Bess, I guess tell everybody, you got this horse, you made him. I mean, you got him from Mike Winter. You brought him over. You've taken him up the levels. This is your guy. So tell us a little bit before we go into show jump, where you got him from and how this all came about.
Really, it was luck. So Mike taught me when he was here for years, and we're really good friends. And he just knows the type that I like. And so I went over after I had both my kids. I told my husband, I was like, I'm just missing something. I want to do upper levels again. And he said, okay, well, let's go get you a young horse. And I was like, great. So I called Mike. We went over. And so we got over there, and I found one that I really, really liked. And then my husband kept going to this store called McCall's like every night to get wine and beer. And we'd laugh. And I think over that time period, he probably had too much to drink. And Mike talked him into buying an investment horse too. So we went from getting one to two. And
when you go drinking with Mike, sometimes that happens.
well, it's just our luck, like I think. And then so, it just all fell into place. And I think it's comical, an investment horse. Like Mike and I both knew I was never going to get rid of this horse. But poor Mark agreed and was like, why aren't we doing this as an investment? And I was like, we'll see how this goes. But
yeah, have another drink, Mark. Let's do it.
No, the poor man. But so the investment horse that we wanted, that we had picked, didn't make it through the pre-purchase. And so I went home, and Mike the next week said, I've got the one. I've got the one. He's so your type. I've got the one. And you may not want to sell this one. You may want to sell the other one that you got. And I was like, okay, all right. I believe you. And that was, we named him McCall because Mark kept going to McCall's.
So the investment horse is McCall.
Yes. And that's
Right,
why
okay.
it's named McCall, because over alcohol, we got to decide we were going to buy one.
Yeah, good move.
That's awesome.
Some of my best decisions have been made the exact same way.
Absolutely.
A few of my worst decisions as well, but most of my best decisions.
That's true too. We won't talk about the worst ones though. Only the
Nah, this is a positive show. Positive show. I love that story. That's pretty cool. So you finish cross country, and there's something to that, right? Like any event, you finish cross country, it feels like an achievement, but this is a Nations Cup. You just went through what, at least weather-wise and weirdness-wise and ground-wise, is probably the toughest long you've done.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking that night and leading into show jumping? Like, were you confident you felt great? Were you ready to rock? What was going through your mind?
I think with that horse, you're excited because I don't even know. I want to pull up his stats, but I think he's only had maybe 3 rails ever.
Right.
I could be wrong.
No, I think you're close to.
But I don't even know that he's ever had one at the 4-star. He had one at a 3-star. He had one at advanced, and I don't know. So anyway, I'm pretty excited because I'm like, if I don't royally mess this up,
yeah, it's a good feeling, huh?
Well, and let's before we go into your show jump real quick, I know, John, you love that, is 6.8 time penalties. You had a 42 point something, which you were the drop score going into show jump, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we were ahead by a couple rails, I think, correct? Yeah. I mean, it moved into
bronze, yeah.
Silver position. Okay, there you go. Let's go. Show jump comes.
So show jump time. Like I said, you want to be on him, but it also is a lot of pressure too, because if you mess up, you're like, well, that was bad because it's your fault. So the warm-up's a little bit tight there. So the warm-up wasn't as good as I wanted. I mean, it was fine, but I wasn't really nailing it like I would like to nail it. And so I went in there and I was like, I've got to help him because I knew he was a little bit body sore because he had used every part of his body the day before jumping 6 feet over the cross country fences. So, I knew I had to get it together and help him a little bit more. And then that's exactly what happened. And I mean, he's unreal.
So you had a double clear.
Double clear. He was awesome.
Yeah, man.
I did notice that everybody's coming in with like muddy feet. Were you jumping in mud or just tracking through the mud to get to the ring?
You have to track through the mud to get to the ring. Like, I kept waiting for them to lose shoes all week walking through this mud because it was just, it's everywhere and you can't get out of it. And it's like above their pasterns. I mean,
You know what? Whatever. You guys have it so good now. When I was there in my day, we had a mud warm up with one jump. And then you
What?
went into the grass ring where you did your dressage in grass. You guys have all weather at Boekelo now.
it's
We did
true.
grass jumping and literally was jumping into and out of standing water, which, to be fair, actually helped my horse Downtown Harrison. He jumped better because he kept spooking at the splashes. I probably would have had 4 down. Anyway, just making fun. Yeah, it
But
is.
that would have been rough because I'm telling you, I mean, there wasn't anywhere that didn't have mud. I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Well-
they need an all-weather ring at Boekelo for sure.
But
So
it was
that's-
nice. It was nice having it.
So Mary Bess, your teammates were Philip Dutton and the cool horse that he has. I forgot his name. John, do you remember? his name?
Passante.
Yeah.
Yep. Then you had Hallie Coon on the very cute girl. Then you had
Which
yourself.
congrats to Hallie, right? Just real quick.
Yeah.
Third place, bronze
Took it all
medal.
out.
Hallie, awesome.
Mhm.
It all came to her and she put a great run in and she deserves it. And your 4th member was
Cassie,
Cassie Sanger on the Redfield horse.
fire one. Yeah.
Cooley
Yep.
Seeing Magic, right? Isn't that the one?
Say it again.
Isn't it Cooley Seeing Magic?
No.
No, she's Redfield Fire.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Keep
Redfield
going.
Fire. So Mary Bess,
Oh, there it is. Got it. Sorry. Yeah.
so rails are going down. This is not an easy show jump course, right? So
No.
it wasn't just like, oh, I put in a double clear. It was like you probably came out and went, oh my God, thank goodness, Mary Bess, you put in a double clear. First to go. We then have who is the second in rotation? Hallie? No, Hallie was last.
It was Cassie.
Cassie.
Mhm.
Cassie had a couple down, I believe.
Mhm.
3.
3.
3 down
So
for
John,
Cassie. Yeah,
take
which
it over
suddenly
with-
Mary Bess's score counts.
Mhm.
Yep. So John, take it over with what you know about the show jump, and then you can ask for Mary Bess input.
No, I just think like, so then all of a sudden your score counts and then you've got Philip coming up. It's neat when you're on a team, right? Because you're there, you're kind of supporting each other. I'm assuming McCall goes back to the barn, you make sure he's good. And then you come back up to watch everybody and support everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you do a lot of math and try to figure out how many rails you can have and what should happen. Could we get the gold? How do we make this happen? How do we make sure? So pretty cool. Philip goes in and gets it done. And I think, did he jump?
He had
here?
2 rails. He had 2 rails.
Okay. So Philip has 2 down. So now Cute Girl goes in. At that point, what were the team standings like?
I think we were pretty safe because there was no way we were going to move up to gold unless Ireland had like, I think 3 rails at something like that, and we all jumped clean. So after Philip had the 2 rails and Ireland didn't have any, so I mean there was no way we were gonna move up to gold, but I think we were pretty secure in the silver spot.
We were 2 rails out of 2
Yeah.
rails out.
Yeah. So it was good that Hallie jumped clean. That was great. And then we were all very excited. But I mean, you know, I kept watching and it's again, I kind of like going first and then just sitting there and watching and being relieved that it's over and that, you know, just seeing what's gonna happen. But it was a harder show jumping because some of the distances were pretty open. And if you've ever watched my horse, he lands very short and steep. And when he does that, it's very hard to make distances sometimes. And so a lot of times I'll opt to add, so I know he's not going to touch anything. But then the time was tight. So Bobby had talked to me and said, hey, I don't think it's as long as we thought. I want you to go get those distances because you're going to get time if you don't. And I said, okay. And so it really, really worked out to his best, you know, interest and our best interest to go and get it. And I was glad he came and talked to me about it because, you know, I go back and forth with that with this horse is, you know, whether to wait and make it easy for him but then sometimes you're on the ground too long and you're paying in time penalties. So that was really helpful and really good. So I was glad he told me to not do that. So
So you get your Nations Cup coat for being on the team, which is sweet. That's awesome. When you win the silver medal at the Nations Cup final, do you get a silver medal or you just get a ribbon?
you get a ribbon.
You get a ribbon. Is that the ribbon behind you?
No, I don't. What is behind me?
There's a ribbon. There's a second place ribbon behind you.
Oh, I think that's from Terra Nova, his first 4L.
Can't you just flip and lie to us and tell us that's the ribbon?
That's the ribbon. That is the ribbon. Sorry.
There you go.
The ribbon was like purple and green and was not anything looking like a second place thing. So I'm like, I can't even lie that well. Maybe the fourth place one over there. That we'll just say that. So.
Okay. All right. So you got the ribbon there, everybody. If you want to see it, you need to go to the Jon and Rick Show's YouTube channel, and you will see possibly sitting right behind Mary Bess. I can't believe they don't give you. I can't believe they don't give you a medal, like not even like a piece of plastic painted silver. That's really strange.
I don't know. They gave us the most beautiful flowers, though. Like they were the biggest bouquets of roses, and they were all so gorgeous. So, I mean, I guess that was our medal.
Come on, FEI. Come on, Boekelo. These guys win a silver medal. They should be getting a silver medal. Like, come on.
I was thrilled to see that second place ribbon, I'll be honest.
So we at the Jon and Rick Show, we will get you a silver medal.
Well,
when I see you next, we'll have a silver medal for you.
Thank you.
So Mary Bess, tell everybody you got your medals. The team's done. That night you get to celebrate with your family. Mary Carroll was there. Hi, Mary Carroll. Thanks for watching the show. You were great to go support. And then you had who all came for you besides your family?
So, Bree Murray, one of my clients, and so it was Bree and Mary Carroll. And then my husband's best friend and his wife came, which they're now my best friends, obviously, but, they came as well. So, it was a great group to have, and, they had a wonderful time. It was funny. So after they left the horse show on Saturday, they had a checkpoint for like they're breathalyzing everyone.
Oh yeah.
No.
I got pulled over by one of those one time. I don't think that's a safe for show conversation, but go ahead with your version.
No, but I mean, I just felt horrible because Mark got breathalyzed. Thank God he's fine. And Mary Carroll got breathalyzed. But, being from the United States, we don't know whether to blow or not. And so they were like, we're in the Netherlands. Do we blow? What do we do? And I was just, they were all fine. They wouldn't have been driving if they hadn't been, but they questioned, they were like, what do we do? So that was a fun time for all of them as well.
Yeah, a little stressful. I had to blow on the way back from one of the parties, and I was fine. But you're like, I mean, I had a drink. What if I'm not fine? And I don't know what the blood alcohol level in Holland is compared to the States. And
that was their point. They're like, what is even the level? Is it, and so they panicked a little bit. But then it became very clear why everybody has thousands of bicycles there.
Right.
Which, in the United States, by the way, you can get a DUI for riding a bike.
And I bet you can there too, but guess what? Nobody was giving those people DUIs because they were all over the place in those bicycles.
But you know what? So to be fair to the town, it's good they do that because there's a lot of people partying and drinking, and they need to know.
I agree. Yeah. Well, at least now people know if you go to Boekelo, just have an Uber.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And they do shuttles. They try to do it all right. They do shuttles from the hotels and stuff, so they're on top of it. So
how is McCall now? Is he home? How long until he got home? What's going on? And then I'm gonna project, if you've done 3-4 longs successfully, you're entering Kentucky 5 long.
Yes. Well, I'm never going to say anything because we all know, all of us know that could change tomorrow because he could.
That's your dream.
In the pasture. But that would be plan A. But we also know there's B, C, D, E, F, and just forget it plan.
Yep.
So he went from Boekelo and then they go to Gallison's, which is a place that they hold them until they fly out. And then he flew out Tuesday back to Pennsylvania and he went to New York, and then he went to Pennsylvania to Phillips until they could bring him back after Fair Hill. My groom and my veterinarian was up there waiting for her stallion that competed at the YEH for the 5-year-olds. And then they both brought him home. So he got home Saturday and he has been just enjoying life. And I actually had to try a bridle on him today, and he was not very pleased with me.
He says I'm on vacation.
Yep, he hated. He was like, "Nope, this is girl. I've given you my season. I'm enjoying my life." And so he got to try on his new bridle, and then he got kicked right back out.
Aw.
Well,
Well,
good for McCall.
Yeah,
good for McCall, a tribute to everything. And Mary Beth, so thanks so much for being on the show. And I think all three of us, again, I'm going to talk about fathers. To testament, all three of our fathers are up watching us from heaven. And it's so cool that your dad got to watch with our dads as you got the silver medal for the U.S. with the other team members. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that, Rick, and thank you, John. We go
Yeah,
way
thanks
back.
for-
We've all had a lot of disappointments and good times. So it's good to be here in a good time.
Yeah, well, that's the point, right? Like, it is a tough sport. We've talked about some of your adversities, and there's more stories than that for all of us. So when it goes right, we got to celebrate. So I'm glad we got to have you on and celebrate a bit with you. Thank you for coming on. And like I said, I don't know, I'm going to get on Amazon now and order you a silver medal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll put it back there for the next time so we can.
You can say that it's the medal. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like
Hugs
that.
to all your family and have a great Thanksgiving. It's coming fast.
Oh, I know. But I'm coming to Ocala, so I'll see you like in a couple weeks.
Are you
sweet.
are you gonna really see us, or do you sometimes you come in here and you just kind of, I don't know, push us to the side?
Oh, whatever, you goober. I'll see you.
Okay.
All right. I better get
Love
on
ya.
ordering this medal. I expected to see you in January. All right. I'm going to get on it right now.
Got to mail
All
it
right.
off.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Listen, thank you to Horse Trailer Pros. Real quick, if you guys have any issues with any of your trailers, Mary Bess, when you're in town, if you need any work done, Matt over at Horse Trailer Pros is the guy to get to. We've got so many great sponsors. Thank you to Jump for Joy for being the studio sponsor here. And Rick,
Yep. Sorry.
go.
Gonna
Yeah, what?
stop your closure. Great movie that you put out there, your documentary. Everybody out there, if you haven't seen it yet, is it Behind the Arena?
It's Beyond the Arena. Yes.
If you haven't seen it, Mary Bess, it's really good. Kudos to Peter, your guy that put it all together, and to you and your team. It's a great testament to John's life and his commitment to safety. So thanks, John, for doing that. And it's a great
Yeah,
documentary.
it makes it sound like my life's over. I'm still here.
No, you're still here. I'm just talking about up to this.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. It was pretty cool to do. And yeah, it's on the Jon and Rick Show YouTube page, so you can go check it out. Mary Bess, you'll be just enthralled, I'm sure.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, so with that said, thank you to all the viewers. We've got 25,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. We're flying high, having a great time. Mary Bess, the whole world is going to see you, and good luck going into next season. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks here in Ocala. I'll get the medal. I just say stupid stuff sometimes. All right. Thanks guys for watching the show. We will catch you on the next one.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.